Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of The Global Guys. Today, we have Bjorn Reynolds from Safeguard Global, who will be talking to us about the future of employment. So, Bjorn, over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Safeguard Global.
Thanks, Mark. Hey, I'm Bjorn Reynolds. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Safeguard Global. We are a service company that works in the human capital area that serves multinationals, either providing global payroll solutions, so how do we pay their employees compliantly and on time, or alternatively employer of record solutions, so allowing companies to expand or employ employees in companies that they don't have entities in. So we're a 700-man company. We were founded in 2008, so we've gone through the entrepreneurial big from 11 employees to 700, and we operate directly in about 28 countries today, and we pay people in about 120 countries.
Good. So how have you found the way people have hired in the last 10 years has changed?
I'm going to have to try and remember, did LinkedIn even, belong 10 years ago? So I think fundamentally things have obviously changed over 10 years, and but some of the fundamentals are the same as well. So I think recruiting has got far more intelligent, both from the company side. So how are we able to measure, understand, mark, and look at competencies of candidates? But equally also from the candidate perspective, there's far more availability about a company to them now. So, what's the social giving practices of the company? Do I want to work for this organization? What's their Glassdoor reviews? So the internet and technology has really sort of brought a big change around, I think, than when 10 years ago. And I would categorize it into two areas. You've got sort of scarce resource availability, right? So that's fundamentally stayed the same. If you need specific skills, whether that's C-suite, whether that's in technology, in finance, you need that scarce resource, the best there is out there. The fundamentals are the same. You're generally going out to utilize networks or recruiting companies to find those. And then on a more general level, LinkedIn and the internet has provided a lot more platforms for you to be able to do that.
Yes, it sounds a little bit like potentially over the last 10 years, then the power, for the want of a better word, has sort of switched to the candidate from the company, where they are choosing to work for the company based on, like I said, their values, their reviews, as opposed to before, where the company may have had more of the power because it was more, about the job more than the company.
Yeah, that's a really good question or sort of view. So look, I don't know if it's a power thing, right? I think it's a habit thing. So working patterns have changed, right? So 30 years ago, you would look for a job for life, right? So you wanted to find a company, stay with a company. Now we're far more transitory, right? So the gig economy is really driving behaviors of, I'm going to stay with you, I'm going to do projects, and if it fits and you fit and you can manage my career, I'll stay. But if not, there's lots of opportunities. So it's definitely a worker's market. And economies have been on a bull run for 10 years. Creation of jobs has been at record levels. So there's been a lot of opportunities for workers to be able to go, where do I want to work, right? I don't have to take a job. Where do I want to work? So I think it's a power thing. I think it's a workforce trend thing. I think there's a great opportunity that then makes employers go, how do I really understand the workforce, the type of people? How do I attract them? How do I retain them? And it's definitely different than 10 years ago, right? So that whole principle has changed.
Yeah, for sure. And over the last 6 months, obviously, you touched on there that people being employed at record highs. But I'm guessing, with the last 6 months of COVID, etc., going on, that that's probably changed a little bit. Have you seen at Safeguard there be, any changes in the way people are wanting to engage people with not maybe potentially being able to set up entities or companies because of travel bans, or not being able to fly people in and out because of bans, sort of thing?
That's a great question. So yes, I mean, in short, look, the current business's reaction to the current pandemic is going to be everlasting, right? So you've seen companies that were office based, everybody send their employees home, and those employees aren't going to want to come back. Maybe on a part-time or a cross basis, but not full-time generally. So you're gonna get this great sort of view of companies going, hey, we want you to come back. People won't want to come back. So you're going to forever see a shift in working patterns. I don't think that's a debate. I think it's now, how do you as companies adopt practices to be able to go, how do I evolve to manage culture, manage onboarding, manage recruiting in a new world? And I think that means that HR and the business needs to really take the lead in understanding what is the future of work, what's the future of the leadership, how do we as a business understand that there's a fundamental change, and we need to understand the technologies people are going to need. We're going to need to understand, how do we manage through diversity, diversity, how do we manage through geolocations being different. So look, the one thing that's stable is you want talent, right? So that doesn't matter pre or post. The difference is that talent is going to have a differing view on when it wants to work, where it wants to work, how it wants to engage with you. And you have to go, can I have the platforms to engage that talent? So to your point, if you find a great revenue leader, but you don't have an entity in the country he wants to work in, how do you deal with that? There's a great piece on CNBC this morning, I think it was about Bermuda, that are now extending visas for 12 months for people. So you can come and work from home from Bermuda, and that's their appeal. The tourist industry is saying, hey, if you're never going back to an office, we'll provide visas for you to come work from here. Look, governments are going to look at that change. Businesses are, employees are, and it's really exciting. I'm super pumped about it to see how we evolve, and those that have always leaned into progressive employee policies will win. They'll win the talent.
Yeah, definitely. And so then on a Safeguard point of view, with regards to the future and the products and services that we provide, can you only see that benefiting Safeguard as a whole more, and especially utilizing the geo services?
Yeah. So look, I mean, So as our customers are multinationals, and those multinationals and new multinationals, right, that are all looking to find this talent. To the point I made, they've got to engage with it. How do I legally, compliantly employ that person? And make sure, again, as you think about it, that they feel part of the company, but they've got great benefits. They know their taxes are being paid. They know they're paid on time, because those are fundamentals that you always need. And look, our solution allows you to employ where you can't employ today. So your availability to access talent around the world is what's important, not your location. And the location will become less and less and less important as the results and the sort of the ripple effect of this pandemic continues to be seen across the workforce.
Yeah. I've just got one more question for you on the serious side of stuff. Not well on the remote stuff too much. But with all the sort of changes governments are putting in, and like the rise of the gig economy that came, There's a lot of changes in the UK where they're trying to cut down on people being contractors that are true contractors. What do you see the future of employment being and it changing from now moving forward?
You know, so I think there's a great question. You know, I think it'll become more precise, right? So there'll be a delineation between companies really looking to utilize the gig economy, right? What do I need to have as static staff? What do I need to have as variable or contingent staff coming in and out? And I see that side continuing to boom, right? I want an expert for a project and I need a team to support him, but I don't need them full time, right? So I think companies' flexibility to continue to harness contingent will be massive. You know, I really think that's an exciting space that'll continue to explode. And then the second part is just this: how do I, as a leader, and make sure that my teams are skilled to be able to adapt their working processes? Because again, the future of employment will change that. You know, great example, you know, I haven't seen, you know, half of my employee force or, you know, any of them for 5 months, right? Imagine that's 18 months, 24 months. You have to be able to engage at different levels. You have to have a consciousness to go, how do I build culture? And I'm all remote. I'm never going to be seen. And so, you know, that's a great challenge. And the leadership skill sets to do that is evolving from traditional to new. So I think organizations will be investing considerably in technology to enable that, in upskilling their workforce to be able to adapt to the new norms, and then looking at how do I bring really bright, disruptive people in to continue to drive that forward.
Yeah, and I guess there's a lot of companies and a lot of people dealing with that right now because of what's happened. It has forced people to think about the remote life, for the want of a better word. Pandemic.
Overnight. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, we successfully got, you know, of our 700, 600 odd were office based. Within a week, we got them working from home, you know, so you know, many companies did that, which was right. Put your employees first, safety first, right? We're going to make moves before you. And now you've done that. As I said, everyone's going, well, do I want to, you know, go back? We did a survey in an office. Not representative, but let's say it's a mid-size office for us, and we asked, you know, how many of you want to come back? Never. You know, part-time or full-time. Not one person said they'd like to come back. That was a full-time office worker, full-time. Not one. So if you force that, you're going to lose your workforce, right? So you have to be adaptive. You have to lead. You have to be clear on your policies and what do you think. But yeah, you know, look, you know, if you think the average commute time in Mexico is 2 hours each way, India 2 hours each way, you know, countries which are the driving things of a global organization won't want to go back to the way it was.
No. Yeah. And it's I think it's going to be very interesting times, especially not just over the next 6 to 12 months with regards to, as you said, companies returning back to work, but yeah, and what the future holds. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, it goes through cycle. It will forever change, right? And that's cool that we evolve. The workforce always has. It goes through cycles and it evolves. And you know, whilst the situation is terrible, you know, the resulting things that come out of that will forever change business as we think about everything. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying now the commute's dead, aren't they? Like, yeah, especially in London, where people had to be office based, and now they've realised that they don't.
Yeah, but then if you think about it, those folks might have lived in Greater London. Now they can go live in Scotland. Now they can go live in, you know, France. Now, you know, wherever they want to, because that balance now is going, if I don't need to be in the office, you don't really care where I am. So what suits me as a family? What suits me as a family? What's my where have I always wanted to live? I want to go live on a beach. I want to go live by the ski slopes. I want to be like Mark, go live by the sea and surf. So all of that suddenly changes because I don't need to be in a physical location. And that's truly exciting. I love that.
So let's go on to some fun questions. So first question for you, Bjorn. What profession other than your own would you have liked to have attempted?
So I was an awesome waiter. In fact, I would have dropped out of university to stay in the hospitality trade, probably. So before university, I worked for a Michelin star restaurant. Fascinated by it, fascinated by the whole thing. So I love restaurants. I love how it works. I would have loved to have worked my way up in the hospitality industry. I think I would have been really good at it. So
it's a bit of a theme for this series so far.
I know.
Really?
We had a chef last week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was
a great team
chef.
together.
I was a great pot washer. Believe it or not, that was my first job at 15, working for a Mulligan's fish restaurant as their pot washer. But no, I loved it. The Michelin star, the whole search for excellence, the way that the whole teams need to interact. It's very business orientated, really. But the kitchen, the ability of the kitchen in front of house to interact for perfection, really, I loved. That was something that I enjoyed a lot.
Maybe we'll have to start a Global Guys restaurant. Cool. So the next one, Bjorn, we've asked every guest we've had on, and we've had a few similar answers. So we've got a bit of a poll going for this one.
All right.
But who is your favourite global guy? So it can be anyone. We've had Attenborough. We've had
David Beckham.
We've had Beckham.
We've had Mark.
We have had me a couple of times.
Hey. Nice.
We've had Tom.
So my answer to this is always fairly consistent. Whenever I've been asked it for other sort of things or a derivative of it. So I'm a history buff. I'm inspired by the past as well as the future. But so my favorite would be global guy, as a term would have been pretty relevant then, would be Julius Caesar. So,
and any specific reason, just based on his life and accomplishments, or?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you say so, I mean, there could be a few from history, but if you, from the understanding of Rome as an individual, what he had to get to be able to become emperor of Rome in the first place is a phenomenal sort of story on adaptability. Change in really tough circumstances, politics, how do you have to maneuver, support, thought, outreach. I mean, it's the story pre-Emperor of Rome in itself is phenomenal. But then if you think on it also, how he then expanded the Roman Empire across, but not just by assimilation, by adaptability, by sort of moving things through is phenomenal. I think the guy was a genius. I think you can still learn lessons from him today on his theories on leadership, on management, on sort of how to make things work. Very, 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 very inspirational to me.
Good. Interesting.
Really interesting one.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
Did not
you,
expect
Mark.
that at all.
Sorry,
I
it's
don't
not
know.
you, buddy.
I'm still leading, so I don't mind. As long as it's not Tom.
Yeah, I haven't got a vote yet, so I'm still waiting for that. So last question then, Bjorn. And this one's been quite interesting as well, to find out who have been 3 influential people throughout your career.
Good question. So, so my first, it generally sort of people that are in this. So my first ever manager where I worked at HFC Bank as a young 21, 22-year-old, and my first ever manager there by the guy named Mark Buckley, just guided my career as a youngster, really got me into thinking longer term about how to think about career goals. What do I want? I was a high energy individual that wanted to move quickly, and he helped me think longer term, which I think helped build my career and maybe the foundation of some of the decisions I made. Secondly is definitely my board member and chairman here, a guy by the name of Bruce Thew. Bruce and I have worked directly and indirectly for 20 years. Great guy. As a leader, you always learn. You always need to be able to bounce ideas off, and I've had the privilege of being able to do that with him. He's a very successful business guy for 20 years, and that's definitely helped and benefited me. And then, third, I would probably say, I don't know, I'm stretching for a third. My dog. Has always been there to listen when I'm complaining at home and doesn't answer back. And
which one? Haven't you got about 10 dogs?
Pardon?
Which one? Haven't you got about 10 dogs?
I got 4. No, look, yes. So no. I'm joking. Look, the third bedrock to me is definitely my wife, right? So you need. She's fantastic. She listens without ever sort of complaining, coming home, and always interested, and provides an insight. She's a trained psychologist, so it's always interesting to get an outside view and thought on how I react to situations. And she knows me really well, and so it's great to have someone to bounce stuff off that can think and talk through. And
you always get to lay on the sofa as well at the same time while she's got
No, I fall asleep if I do that, but so look, I think anything is people who can help you, and as long as as a leader you understand, like, I don't, I'm open to going, I have to learn every day, and I want people that can help me do that. Then I think you're in a great stead. So those 3.
Great answers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very good answers. Very good answers. Well,
what was the dog a good one, or is that going to get cut?
No, we're going to keep that one in. Well, Bjorn, thank you ever so much for joining us today for series 2 of the Global Guys. Obviously, inspirational to listen to you, to hear about Safeguard and everything else, and the future of employment, and looking forward to obviously being a part of that journey. We both are going forwards. But for everybody that's watching and listening across all our platforms, Bjorn's details of his LinkedIn, if you want to connect with him and continue to see his journey, will be submitted on here, and also Safeguard's details as well. And if you want to find out any more information, then please let us know. And as per usual, from one half of the Global Guys, I'm going to say thank you, Bjorn, and great to see you today.
Yeah, thank you, boys. You guys are doing a great job, so keep it up.